Welcome to Money River News This Week, furnished by Harvey's. Dr. Todd Pettit is going to be Quincy's next superintendent of schools. And he's the first QHS graduate to ever go to the top chair, which is a little bit surprising, I guess, because we're a pretty large district. We always want our graduates and alumni to come home and be productive members of our community, and that's certainly what Dr. Pettit has done. Welcome.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Well, I was at the board meeting last night as we taped this Thursday, and we still wasn't sure who had gotten the job. But then when I saw, your partner and I saw your family show up, I'm like, well, I don't think they're just here for the All-State musicians.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. Tell me how you feel about having the job.
It's somewhat surreal, still trying to just wrap my head around it, even after a long process. I was reminded yesterday that I wrote the intent letter the 10th of October, so the intent to apply. So It's been a long journey, and just very eager to transition out of my current role and begin the work of superintendent.
Yeah, because it's you've got a few things on your plate as director of music,
Right.
like Showcase,
Right,
which we
exactly.
can talk about today too.
We could,
because
yeah.
you can wear both hats.
Yeah, new faces,
yeah, all that stuff. So it's a very busy time for you, as it always is for the director of music. But now you're going to begin the process of also doing some job shadowing, I assume.
Correct.
So
correct.
Talk to me about how your days are going to kind of be now.
My calendar is even more full, beginning this morning about 7:30 with those invites coming, and that's expected, because one of the benefits of transitioning to this role as an internal candidate is that I get to work with Roy, and I have the utmost respect for him and his leadership, but also just having that mentorship and transition and ease of transition is going to be positive for my ability to take over this position.
Why'd you want it?
It's been on my radar. This was the pinnacle of my education pursuits. Going for my master's degree, I knew I was going to be a school administrator and a principal, and I've done that. And moving into this director role, and more of a central office role, but then completing my doctorate of education, I knew I wanted to complete my career, the final chapter, so to speak, as a superintendent. Didn't imagine that the opportunity would be in my hometown, but I can't imagine being anywhere else.
So yes, you've again graduating from Quincy High in '89, and then going to college, and then kind of learning the ropes and going through. I always think that teachers really respect it when they see a superintendent come up through the ranks, because they know the challenges and struggles. They know that the challenges and struggles they have.
Right. And taking this position nearly 3 years ago gave me the opportunity to be back in the classroom, teaching some classes the first year, and then last year, because of COVID and needing to streamline our staffing and meet the needs of our students. So once a teacher, always a teacher. I think being connected to that passion and that love is important, to be able to connect and just identify with your teaching staff. So hopefully they see that. I don't want to be someone that's just in a suit that is not approachable. And I've always led from the middle, is what I call it, in all of my positions, and I hope I am successful to continue that as superintendent.
And again, while this is your first role as a full-time, full-fledged superintendent, you did spend 7 years as a principal.
Correct.
So again, kind of the next iteration of that evolution. What in your first crack as being an administrator, what are some of the things that you learned that when you had to separate yourself from your teacher hat to your principal hat?
Well, my first role was assistant principal at Collinsville Middle School, and that was 3 years, and such an amazing training ground. And middle school is an awesome place to be. Either you love it or it's not your fit, right? It was my fit, and I really enjoyed those kids, and you become a disciplinarian. That's really what 95% of my day was during those times, but also just leading and guiding teaching teams, because we had a team of administrators, and we worked to not only work with discipline and behaviors, but also to be able to intercede and assist students on things like we had a help team that assisted students with not only behavior but also academics. So that really got my feet wet and my thirst for being able to be that true instructional leader, even in that setting. And then I moved on to an elementary principal position, a very ethnically diverse population in our school in Fairmont City State Park, Illinois, and it was just a great opportunity to, I think, see the ability of students who we were 95% Hispanic students and 75% Spanish speaking, and to see that given the tools, it doesn't matter your challenges, students can succeed. And so, those two experiences, I think really allowed me to be better grounded and prepared for this position as well.
The school district really was had a real nice ride of momentum when the referendum passed and the new buildings were built and all that. And then our district, like everybody in this country, was kicked in the teeth with the pandemic. We are still recovering from that at some point. That has been a source of division in our country, in our community. And now as you prepare to lead this district, and we hope the pandemic's behind us, what did going through that teach you as you begin this new position?
Resiliency comes to mind. Resiliency of students, of their parents, of our teachers and staff and administrators. Just to have that grit to be able to work through that time. And I don't think any of us, at least I could speak for myself, hindsight is 2020. So looking back on that time, it's almost like we've blocked out a year of time that didn't even happen. And, as a leader, you see those things that you're going throughout your day, but you just think, wow, that was a year. What happened to that time? So I see our students now who are back in school, and even through the process of when, we were very fortunate in our district to have school. And as the director of music education, we were teaching music, which was very rare, not only in our state, but across the country.
Sure.
So that resiliency and grit, and it's going to take that to continue for us to overcome the challenges of the ripple effects for our kids, for our teachers, just for our families.
And it's been about getting back in a swing after really a year and a half that were lost, and having a child who had to go through that, and seeing how it affected and impacted him and impacted everybody involved. It was really sad that they basically lost that year, and now I hope it's something that students come back from this, and it's something you just don't take your high school experience for granted, because the kids who didn't get to, who didn't get a full season of football or basketball or a school musical or whatever, those kids are the ones who did not get that full high school experience and did not really get to experience what it really means to be a Blue Devil. And
right.
Now we're getting back into that, and kids, kids are still getting acclimated to that a little bit, aren't they?
Yes, and it's like a light switch turned on this year, and so it's full speed ahead. And that is a struggle for all of us, because all of a sudden our schedules are back to where they were. But I think for me, in conversations that I've had with my staff, currently, and our district staff, is turning that light switch on. We really aren't back to what we would call normal because of what we've experienced.
Sure.
And so again, it's addressing those needs and challenges that is still foreign ground. None of us have been through this before, and so we're just trying to support our students and our teachers in the best way we know how.
You officially take the reins July 1st. What's the first thing on your list once you move into that office?
Well, I had three areas of focus, and one area that I really am passionate about is just identifying all of us as Blue Devils. As a former graduate, obviously that is in my blood, but we have 5 new beautiful elementary schools that you mentioned in the open, And we're so proud of those schools and the identities that they have become, with their own mascots and their own cultures, and that needs to continue to thrive and grow. But I'm a firm believer, as a large unit district, we also need to be able to come together as a district family and have an identity of we are all Blue Devils. And I think for our students, that's something that from pre-K, until they reach the high school, they aspire to be that Blue Devil. Seeing the gym, Blue Devil gym, packed like in, days gone by,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, that just, really warms your heart. It's like, wow, this is what it's about. And having the kids experience that, I think is so important. So it's that pride and culture, but I want to take it a step further, that it's not just in our schools and classrooms, but that on Fridays, we all are Blue Devils and we'll all wear blue. So that's an initiative that I want to roll out just to gather the community around for that Blue Devil pride. And I think, my focus with that is that it gives our kids a focus of they aspire to their high school years, to enjoying those years and being able to walk across the stage and graduate, which, for me, that's another area of focus for our district, is that we need to be able to respond to the needs of our students and our graduation rate that's declined over the last few years, partially due to COVID, but partially not. And again, giving all students those tools to be able to reach their full potential, because that's our mission in Quincy Public Schools, to allow students and teachers to reach their full potential.
So there's two of the three. What's the third?
So the third one, as always, you talk about money, right? But we know my focus 2023, when I was interviewing, was, by 2023, the state has, mandated that all teachers have a $40,000 minimum salary. And the district is, ready and prepared the board's working with the union and making sure that that will happen, and we're compliant with that, and rightfully so. We need to make sure that our teachers are compensated and for the professionals that they are. And so, we're in a good situation for that now. We have ESSER funding, Every Student Succeeds, and also our CARES Act funding, which is COVID funding, that will allow us some cushion. Those are one-time shots. Yeah. But, the board knows that, and the Teachers Association knows that, once that money is gone, then we're back in a situation of how do we increase those revenue streams? And everyone in the community knows that that was on the ballot in April of 20. And I think that's something that I have said that I will be a steward of supporting whatever direction that the school board deems appropriate for our financial health.
As part of your contract, did you ask the school board to get the teacher's contract done before you started, make it a 5-year deal so you didn't have to mess with it?
No.
If not, that's bad negotiating on your part.
Yeah. No, that was not the focus.
So you'll have to step in and get that. That's probably not going to be done before you take the job either.
Correct.
So you'll be a part of that. Although that's primarily a school board function, you're still heavily involved in that.
Correct. And over the next, several months, with Roy and I transitioning, as we said in the beginning, I'll be part of many conversations throughout the district. While my passion is to finish strong as director of music and exit proudly from that position.
Well, let's put your director of music hat back on real quick, because we got Showcase coming up.
We do.
Returning.
We're returning, and we're very excited about that. We've got 12 jazz bands and 10 show choirs, so a little bit smaller than what we're typically used to in the last probably 10 to 15 years, but we're going back to those early days of Showcase when, we had smaller crowds. And I think, it's going to be a positive day for our students. We really wanted our students to be able to participate and experience Showcase because it's been a monumental, experience for those kids. They want that if they're in show choir and jazz bands. So to be able to welcome those other guests from the tri-state area is going to be great. That's Saturday, March 12th. At the high school, 8 o'clock in the morning, we kick off with jazz bands. At about 2 o'clock, we kick off with show choirs, and it will all be in the QHS Theater. So we hope that folks will come out and just enjoy some great entertainment.
And it'll go to like 1, 2 in the morning, right?
No, not this year. This year it won't.
That's what I remember.
I know when it's bigger. We're hoping that we're done by 9 or 9:30. That's our goal. So.
Oh wow! Oh,
yeah.
You ain't money on that, do you?
I will. You want to?
Yeah, let's do $1. $9
right.
o'clock. You're gonna be done by 9 o'clock. It's $1.
Let's say 9:30.
No, 9:15.
Sure.
All right, 9:15. You're done by 9:15.
Deal.
People are you've signed off by 9:15. We got $1 on it. You see it.
Your audience will see me. Probably paying you $1. Yeah.
And then of course New Faces back as well
Right.
in all its glory.
Right. Yeah, we're excited about that. New Faces mounts in April, and we just finished auditions yesterday. And as always, that's going to be a great production. Steeped in history. Dan Perino started that, back in the 60s. And, we are tradition with the capital T.
Yeah.
Not only in the music department, but just
Yeah.
in our district and in our city. So excited to have that back on stage as well and showcase our kids.
And again, I think, the music program, again, like athletics, like all extracurricular activities coming back. And, this year, it seemed like, again, it had changed because of what we'd experienced, but this year a little more normalcy, and then God willing, and the creek don't rise. Next year, it's everybody's like, okay, we're back 100%.
Yeah.
So that's what we're all hoping for.
Yeah.
One last thing we want to touch on here is the fact that along with you being the first QHS alumnus to take the job, you are also a gay man, and that's something that on social media, some people seem to perhaps have a problem with, but many people support it and supported you in what I read last night. And I think it's just something that I'd like you to address, because you have people who are going to say, well, as a gay guy, he's going to come in and try to indoctrinate our children. You represent 6,000 students, correct?
Correct.
Do you have anything else to say on that?
6,700.
6,700.
I think, for me, first of all, I was raised to be a person of integrity and honor, and that's important to me, that I continue in that, with those grounded attributes of just being a respectful, loving, human being. So I've never worn my sexuality, on my sleeve. I've never been one to, just raise a flag and say, this is who I am, but I also don't deny who I am either, and who I love. And I don't know that anyone can, at least for me, I don't even know how you could indoctrinate someone to be something other than they are. So, I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of who I've chosen to share my life with. And I am overwhelmed with the outpouring on social media, text messages, emails. I mean, they just keep coming in of people that I'm, have not even in Quincy, but people who I graduated with that aren't living in Quincy anymore. I've heard from former colleagues in Indiana and in Southern Illinois, and actually all over the country, because during my teaching years, I was very involved with the Indiana State Teachers Association. So it's great to have kept those, relationships connected on social media. And just that outpouring really grounds me in who I am as a leader, which again, I really hope people see me as a man of integrity and honesty, and someone who's trustworthy and can lead all students and represent all of our students in our district. And
that's, so when we were talking earlier, your doctorate sort of, talk a little about your doctorate and how that comes into play with that.
So my doctoral studies at St. Louis University.
Go Billikens.
Yeah, go Billikens, that's right. Encompassed just how prepared Missouri principals were to address the needs of marginalized students. And those areas were in ethnicity, with poverty, special education. LGBTQ was part of that too. So I worked with a cohort of 4 of us that we received our doctorates within that cohort in writing our dissertation in terms of looking at that inclusion and diversity and just preparation of principals to be able to address those needs of all those students.
Well, as the Quincy Superintendent of Schools, you are certainly a role model, and when QHS succeeds, QND succeeds, we all succeed. And I want to congratulate you on the position. I wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Well, that's all the time we have for Muddy River News this week. I'm Bob Goff. Have a great week.